Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Garson. I'm a clinical psychologist, and during the day, I work with clients who have neurodevelopmental conditions, autism, ADHD, and that's my professional practice. But for the rest of the time, I'm the parent of a student at Mind. I'm happy to report that my child is thriving at Mind and is currently in secondary 5. Mind is an amazing place. It creates a safe place for the kids who arrive, no matter what their development is like, psychologically, emotionally, and builds educational goals for their students. The students at Mind are very diverse in terms of learning styles, in terms of gender, even sexuality, but the space is safe. We have nothing but amazing things to say about Mind teachers. Our Mind teachers that we've been very fortunate to work with are professional, they're caring, they're intuitive, and they communicate really well with parents. So together, collaboratively, we've been able to work on educational goals for our child, and we've been able to see them thrive throughout the years. I wish continued success to Mind, and I'm happy to have been along in this journey.
Yes, okay, wonderful. Okay, great. Welcome to Mind's Virtual Open House in 2021. I'm William. I've been teaching sciences, maths, and design here at Mind for at least 6 years. And
I'm Ellie, and I've been here for 2 years so far.
Listen, we'll be your hosts for the next hour or so, and over this hour, you're going to get to know some of the personalities that we have around the school here, and unfortunately, you can't be here in person, but hopefully you'll get a sense of what life is like here at Mind. And if you have questions during this hour, then you'll be able to put it in the chat or contact the school, and we'll get back to you. So let's get started. We'd like to introduce our new principal, Madame Myrianne Lusignan.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you, William and Ellie. Welcome to our open house. We're proud to have this event for you. Hopefully it can answer a few questions and give you a good insight of who we are. Mind was founded in 1975, back then to offer an alternative for students who wanted more of a smaller school environment, that were very self-motivated and wanted to change from big and large learning environment. We are proud to say that we are still going on strong with that mission for our secondary 3, 4, and 5 students that we have here, where we provide a safe, caring, a small environment that's very inclusive and heartwarming for everybody. Our individualized approach to learning really fosters the students' independency in learning and their academic path. We follow them in their individual development. We encourage their sense of community, their personal sense of responsibility. We co-manage things with them. We really encourage school involvement. As you can see, we're proud to be hosting this event together. Students and staff came together to create a nice event. We value the students that are well-rounded academically, socially, emotionally. Our goal is to get them to be the best they can be, to be successful adults when they grow up, whatever path they want to change and they want to choose for their career. We encourage them to develop their own voice, their manner with respect and manner, and we respect diversity, inclusion, like our parents said. We really encourage them to own their own learning experience, to make it what they want it to be. And the staff is ready to stand by them, to care for them, and to make sure that they get all the requirements for all the courses that are expected of their different levels, and make sure that we meet the ministry's criteria. So I'm eager to pass the microphone on to the rest of the team of teachers and students that are coming together, and our support staff too. Please enjoy the Mind visit and feel free to contact us if you have questions. William and Ellie, I think the microphone goes back to you now.
Merci, Myrianne.
Now we're going to go on to John Panetta, who's also new.
Hi, Will. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, John.
John, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit of what your first year was like at Mind?
First year at Mind was a pleasant surprise. You know, like most things don't go as you expected. This certainly didn't, but it was a lot better than I anticipated. The first experience walking onto the Mind floor, seeing this big, bright, beautiful open space, the benefit of almost $2 million of renovations, you really get the sense of the beauty, and it adds so much to the experience. You come into work and there's all this bright lights, clean, streamlined space, and the other part that struck me was how quiet it was. Before I came to Mind, Patrice Asselin, the head teacher who I replaced, wanted to be very careful about who would come in and make sure that Mind would be taken care of. And so he invited me, and I walked onto the floor, and how quiet it was. And I almost didn't believe there were actually students in the building, and there they were in the classrooms. It's such a tranquil place.
So, John, can you tell us what makes Mind alternative?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. We don't have this exhaustive list where we can tell you these are the 5 things that make Mind alternative. But I think at its core, what makes us alternative is our cross-curricular approach, our ability to link classes together. For example, linking our math class and our art class together to work on collaborative projects, to be able to link our Canadian history classes and our ethics classes together. Aside from the cross-curricular approach that makes us alternative, it's the fact that we can actually do it. I think as a hockey player, I can tell you being small is not an advantage, but for a school, it is. Because we're small, we can really be flexible, and it's very easy to link classes together within a level, but also to link the levels together. You know, for example, our Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the 94 calls to action, we can link our secondary 3, 4, and 5 students together to work on a project. So we have our cross-curricular, we have projects within grades, and also our focus on working on community engagement. That's another aspect that makes Mind alternative. We expect our students to take what they learn in class, then apply it in other classes, and then to take it outside of the school, to work with community-based organizations, to make those contacts, those links. We stress that for our students, that they're expected to be involved in every aspect of education and to find education in all the experiences we give them. Be they in the classroom or outside working with community-based organizations or on our field trips.
Okay, sounds great, John. Thanks. We'll get back to you in a bit for sure. Let's get some student perspective in on this. So we're going to cut to Ben. Ben, could you introduce yourself and tell us what it's like to be a student at Mind and about the Student Council?
Hi, so my name is Ben. I came here 3 years ago from a school that was quite different, actually. Hundreds of kids, and it was an all-boys school, and it was quite the school. And coming here, I was really shocked to see the differences in like the people, in the way people treated each other, and the inclusive space. And just in general, the vibe was just really amazing, and everyone was so friendly, and as well as the teachers. It was really heartwarming to see that there was like a place where people could come and feel safe and feel cared for. So yeah.
Thanks, Ben. And what about student council? Can you tell us a bit about that?
So basically the student council, so it's something that we decided to do recently. So we're a group of 6 students who are elected to coordinate like ideas that the students and the teachers have. It's a really inclusive and open space as well, meaning that we can communicate anything that we want to the teachers, vice versa. We also try to use the student council as a way to get different techniques to like learn in the classrooms. We also want to include everyone in the discussions, and I think that's a big important part of it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Ben. Now let's go to Pam. Pam, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, Pam, you're muted. Sorry, there we go.
Okay, my name is Pamela Thomas. My role at mine is to help students stay on task and to be proactive towards their academic success. This includes working closely with the teachers and admin. First, I must say, mine is an exceptional school with a dedicated staff. It represents diversity and inclusion, which allows the students to express themselves freely without being judged. There's a sense of respect among students and staff, which is admirable. Also, there's an amazing curriculum that allows the students to learn about different cultures and languages, at the same time have fun while doing it. Students here are given the opportunity to reach their full potential, not only in academics, but also in life skills. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you so much. Sherine, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you teach and some of your electives?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to meet you virtually. My name is Sherine Bokter, and I'm going to speak about the 3 electives at the grade 11 level. We have a 3rd language option, which is either German or Russian. I let the students decide which they prefer at the beginning of the year. We also have a very interesting course called Pop Culture and Media, and we have a course called Asian Studies. I'll go a little bit into each one to explain what the approach is. The language German or Russian course focuses on the 3 competencies of oral expression, comprehension, and also writing. And we achieve a valid level in all 3 competencies. Grammar is kept to a minimum on a need-to-know basis, so we don't have heavy grammar lessons. The emphasis is on communicating and communicating correctly. No prerequisite is required. The Pop Culture and Media course focuses on deconstructing North American culture, and it involves sociology, cultural anthropology, psychology, and the attempt is to understand ourselves better as a society. So we examine North American society from many different perspectives and points of view, literary criticism. Right now, we are focused on alternative movements in music that either help give voice to people who feel marginalized, left out, misrepresented, or underrepresented. And right now, the focus is on grunge music. There's also the Asian Studies program, which is a general survey of all Asian countries. We look at literature, we look at economics, we look at history, and we look at geography and culture. We just wrapped up our exploration of Japan, and we staged a No theater. No and kabuki theater are ancient forms of performing arts in Japan. Dialogue is minimal, but there's very elaborate costumes. And the stories often involve otherworldly ghosts, restless spirits, seeking salvation and liberation from the material world. So the material is very interesting and allows for introspection as well as getting to know Japanese culture. So these are the 3 electives offered at the grade 11 level, and I'm very, very pleased to present them and to teach them.
What inspires you about teaching at Mind?
That's a very good question. Initially, I came to Mind as a 1-year sub for a teacher who was going on sabbatical, and that 1 year turned into 22 years, I think. What motivates me to come to this school and work in this school is 2 words. It's critical thinking, and it's also freedom. The critical thinking is the idea of challenging, questioning, deconstructing, having discussions and conversations with the students. So it's not necessarily an authoritative or hierarchical way of presenting material. And the other word that's really foundational for me, it's really the freedom. Especially in English classes, where English is not limited to just the written text, but it really brings in film and dance and music and history, because all literature comes from a context, it comes from a person, it comes from a literature, a culture, excuse me, and also a time in history. So all of that becomes relevant and important, and also enriching for creating that well-rounded, well-informed individual. Yeah.
Et le français?
Oui, alors le cours de français, je l'enseigne au niveau secondaire 4. Nous visons aussi les compétences, l'expression orale, la compréhension orale et écrite, et aussi, bien sûr, l'écrit. C'est un cours de longue seconde, mais on essaye de pousser aussi dans les discussions, dans les notions littéraires, dans les textes que nous explorons, etc. Alors, ça peut présenter un défi, même pour une personne qui parle couramment. En même temps, c'est toujours abordable pour une personne qui est moins capable, mettons, en français. Voilà.
Great, thanks, Sherine. William?
Yeah, I love teaching here. Daniel, can you roll the clip?
Math, language of the universe!
Wonderful, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I love teaching here. In my classes, we get to talk a lot about the history and language of the universe. We get to talk about some of the greatest achievements in human history, but we can do it in small, intimate settings. And I can easily see how you're doing as a student, and I can work with you to grow if you're open to that. We still have expectations, definitely. We're still trying to prep you for the top level challenges that are coming, but we can approach it in a different way. And I in general try to set up scenarios that link to actual things that we can make, or we can build, or we can measure whenever we can. So an example of that is earlier at the beginning of the year, we had our federal election happening. And in grade 11, in cultural, social, and technical math, the CST math option, I rearranged the schedule so that we could talk about voting procedures. And we went back to Justin Trudeau's 2015 promise of ending the first past the post system. And we analyzed what would happen in the election if he would have done that instead of staying with the plurality system that we have. We also actually linked it to the student council election that Ben was talking about. And we got my class to analyze all the results in terms of like a ranked ballot strategy instead of plurality. So whenever I see an opportunity to link it to something that we're doing or something that's going on, then I try to take it. But we still also are definitely getting ready for exams, and ministry exams in grade 10 are definitely a focus and a big deal. Anyway, I also love playing music with the students at lunch. I do so whenever I can. I had students in here again today. They're in here most days. And that's a great way to try to connect with people. In the past, we've had coffee houses and performances out in the community. Obviously, that's been on pause, but hopefully we can get back to that soon. And I love coming to work. We've got a great community here. We laugh a lot, and it's a great place to be. So actually, but I'm also only half of the science and math department. So maybe we can right now cut to Pamela, who's the other half. And Pamela, can you tell us about your approach to science and math?
Sure. So my name is Pamela, and as William said, I'm the other half of the math and science departments. And like Sherine, I've been kicking around this place for 20 some odd years. And every day I'm still thrilled to come to work. I love my students, I love my colleagues, and I love the opportunities as a teacher that I have here to just go beyond the curriculum whenever I can. So in my science courses, as William was saying, you know, we still have to prepare students for the exams, but whenever I can, I try to make connections with the real life and what is happening. So in our topics, you know, this right now we are with the grade 10s talking about materials in the world because we just wrapped up learning about the periodic table. So in learning about the periodic table, just this week, we were the first English group to be privileged enough to be taken on a walking tour of downtown Montreal that was called the Chemistry Walk. And it was a joint venture between McGill, LUQAM, and here we were the pilot school to be taken, and we spent 2 hours walking around and learning about chemistry in our downtown core. You know, from then we wrapped up and tied it in with going to the McCordy Museum. So again, and so other than that, in the materials, like for example, now we're going to be dealing with plastics and all of that. So I talk about absolutely fine.
Does it need to be like full colors?
So the good news is that we can actually also use Desmos. How many people have used Desmos here before? Okay, so Desmos graphing calculator is amazing because then what you can do, right, if you let me show you on here, is that you can actually type in your equations and restrict the domain, and then it'll show you. So I'm not sure where you lost me there, but I will pick up where I go. This is in fact, okay, so anyway, back to science. We are looking at things like the politics of bottled water and the impact of our consumer society in you know, creating impact on climate change and, for example, ending up with plastics in the oceans and that sort of thing. So that's in the science courses.
And can you tell us about the cross-curricular projects?
Yes, so that would be some of the cross-curricular stuff that I've done is in my math courses. So for example, in the grade 11, absolutely fine.
Does it need to be like full colors?
So the good news is that we can actually also use Desmos. How many people have used Desmos here before? So this is a functions as art project that we do with the students where they, at the end of the year, they get to integrate all the learning that has been done over the course of the year, both with functions and conics, and create an art project based on that. And they use all the knowledge that they do, and then they create like beautiful works of art just out of equations, you know, that we've got. And it also helps to use and integrate technology into the program because we work with platform bases like Desmos, online graphing stuff, and that's it. So that's the functions. We also do some integrative stuff in the grade 9, where I work actually with Aline, my colleague here, and it's a joint project with art and pop and math. So the math part of it is that the students are able to create what we have a candy box project where they take all the solids that they have learned about, because we've been learning about area and volumes of solids at this point, and then they get to create a box of their in order to market a product. And so for this example is, you know, like We've got triangular-based prisms and hemispheres and cylinders, and we get to just make it beautiful and do lots of calculations.
And for the POP side of that, so POP is a class that is called Personal Orientation Project. It helps students sort of learn how to be people outside of just a high school classroom. And one of the units that we do in there is a marketing and advertising unit, which Pamela and I tie to this, tie in with this candy box project. So there's the POP side, which is learning how to market and learning how to advertise. There's also the art side, which is actually creating the box. And here we have a wonderful example with Declan's box.
Hi, my name is Declan. I'm in grade 10, and this is my second year here at Mind. This is my candy box project that I did for last year's project, and this is my poster. So the two colors I chose are gold and purple because often they're associated with some a kind of royalty and luxury. So by buying this product, I wanted to make the buyer feel that they're buying something that's really worth it for the price. I also chose the word grant as the name because I wanted a hint of magic, in the product, so that it would make them feel like buying this would give some good luck or so. So on the math side of things, the three shapes I chose are a regular polygonal-based prism for the center, two trapezoidal-based prisms on the ends, and to connect those two shapes are rectangular-based prisms. So as you may have noticed, I really wanted to make these shapes recognizable as an item. And this actually looks like a piece of candy, which I would want to put inside of the box. So when you look at it in the store, it's like, oh, that's a candy box. That's something I'd want to eat. So I feel like there's a lot of creative liberty in this project, and I think that theme of creative liberty reoccurs at Mind.
That's great. Thank you, Declan.
Thanks. Thanks, Aline. Thanks, Declan. Thanks, Pamela.
Yeah.
Aline and Pamela, sorry for cutting you off with the video. That was my fault.
That's okay. We always, we're good at sort of, pivoting. There we go.
Exactly. Aline, maybe you could introduce yourself actually and tell us a little bit about what you teach, and also talk to us about community projects.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Aline. This is my third year here at Mind. I absolutely love it here. I teach a whole wide range of subjects. I teach the grade 10 ELA. I teach grade 9 and 11 French. I teach all of the art in the school. What else do I do? I teach the POP class, and I also teach one of the phys ed options that we'll talk about a little bit later. So regarding community projects, we had most recently, or this year, our first big one was that in September, we were lucky enough to meet with the Kanyangahaga clan mother who came into our school to tell us about her school experience growing up, and to kind of guide us in our designs for Orange Shirt Day. You can read all about that on our website. Like there's a little section with that day and the sort of how it went with her. But regarding the orange shirts, we sort of took some art classes. We tied it into the art class to design our own shirts. We have Emma here to tell us a little bit more about that and to maybe show off her shirt.
Hi, my name is Emma. I'm in Sec 5. It is my third year at Mind. And so following what Aline said, for the entirety of September, we were working on these orange shirt designs. And it was honestly a super interesting experience. We all made our own unique designs.
Can you show yours?
This is my design. So personally, I based mine off of the school hoodie design.
Which she also designed for us last year, actually.
I did. So collectively, everyone in the school who did this, everyone who took the art classes, we all had to keep something similar, which was the slogan, Every Child Matters. And our spiritual animator, Elizabeth, suggested we should all have a heart somewhere on our designs. We used vinyl cutters, which was a very interesting experience to learn how to cut it out, and then proceed to use heat press to press our designs onto our t-shirts.
And what a wonderful job you did.
Thank you.
William and Ellie?
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Yeah, we're paying attention. Of course we are.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Aline. Speaking of community projects, okay, we also are fortunate enough to have one of our community partners, Anna Milic, in online. Anna, hello, and thanks for being here. And could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us about the People's Pie Project from last May?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for inviting me. It's so nice to reconnect with everybody like this. So my name is Anna. I work at McGill. I run a program at McGill Community for Lifelong Learning, and I'm also enrolled at a program at Concordia. I study interdisciplinary studies and sexuality, and I am a mom of Mind alumni. So I had an opportunity to work with Mind students last year in May and in June. So we were doing a community engagement project, and the theme of the project was education for social justice and community engagement. So we got to explore spaces for youth autonomy within a school, within an alternative school. And so it was like several parts. I facilitated a series of conversations with the students, and then I engaged them with a local community group that works with seniors, Projet Changement. And so we explored different topics related to social justice, our social position, cultural messages that surround us. And the students were also given this opportunity to do an experiential learning project. So they met Project Changement members, they joined class as guest speakers, and they got to reflect on the social issues that are at the core of their mission, such as housing, poverty, social isolation. And then they organized a fundraiser for the organization, and they planned every aspect of the event: outreach, funding, promotion, visuals, food preparation, distribution, and so on. So it was pretty amazing to work with them, and it aligned really well with the mandate of Mind, which is part of their special status as an alternative school, to be a school that is engaged in the community.
Yeah, great. Okay, yeah, that was such a great project. And we look forward to more of those in the future too, for sure. What about, could you tell us a little bit about being a Mind parent?
Well, it was a great experience. Like others mentioned, I think when my child started attending Mind, he was in an environment where he felt that he belonged. He was surrounded by peers and by teachers who saw him kindly and clearly. He was surrounded by these like fierce original thinkers, and he deepened his critical perspective of the world. He's now in Cégep. He's studying special care counseling, and I'm so grateful that we got to find out about Mind, and both our experience was just wonderful.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks so much. Thanks for meeting with us today and for sharing that.
John and Sam, there have been already 4 field trips already. Can you tell us why there are so many?
Absolutely. So I have Sam on the other side of the glass. I don't know if it's soundproof.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Please don't tap on the glass either.
All right. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
So Ellie wanted to know why there's so many field trips. First off, because it's fun. And I think if there's any reason, that's it. We should have fun when we're at work. But it's also to try to get the students to experience the city, take us out of a school where we have the advantage of being small, so we can really have depth to our relationships. But by going out on field trips, we get to meet more people. So that's our first thing, right? So we expand the breadth of the relationships we have. And a lot of the field trips are important for us as staff members too, because they're co-curricular. We want you to learn something in class, then take you outside and then apply it. So going back to the People's Pie Project, it was phenomenal. And again, that came from Anna. Anna initiated the contact, initiated the project. To be able to take what you learn in English class, how to write letters, so we can go out and speak to the community members. Learning things, simple things like a volume, or converting metric to imperial and back and forth, showing that the stuff you learn in class, no matter how innocuous it may be at that moment, has some real world application. But don't take my word for it. On the other side of the pain here, we have sand.
That's right. Yeah. Field trips have really been playing a big role this year, especially since the lockdown, where we haven't really been able to get the chance to do that at all. So it's really been a big change, and it's definitely really nice. So yeah, as John mentioned before, these field trips can act as co-curricular activities for classes. For example, I believe it was the second photo where we got to see the botanical gardens, which you went to for art and Asian studies combined into one little project that we got to do for those who were in that class. And not only that, but a lot of these field trips really act as a good way for the kids to bond. Like in other schools, the students really tend to group up into small groups, but in field trips at this school, it's very different, as it's just one small group where everyone gets to experience this collectively and talk to each other during it. It really creates like these super unique experiences for field trips that are like no other school. And it's super interesting to be able to experience these kinds of things with such a small group.
Ellie, can I ask a favor? You may not know this about me, but I studied 5 years of mining, and I may never get the chance to do the glass up against the, can I with your permission?
Do it. Yeah, do it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There you go.
He had me
5
fooled.
years.
He had me fooled. He had me fooled.
Okay,
Sorry,
thanks.
Will.
Okay.
I'll leave now. I'll go home.
Ellie,
Oh,
please.
thank you so much. So now, Aline and Ire, tell us about Phys Ed at Mind.
Let's tell you about Phys Ed. So students here at Phys Ed have 3 options for every week. I usually take them up the mountain. We'll do a quick hike up there and then come back down. When it's too icy, too snowy, we kind of do an urban hike around the plateau. But Ire has experienced both of the other options. Looking very snazzy in your red blazer. I love it. But tell us about the Phys Ed.
So yeah, the 2 options I've taken so far are yoga and just, I guess, normal Phys Ed. I enjoy playing soccer, and during normal Phys Ed, I'm able to play soccer, run around, pass the ball around with some friends, be a little competitive. And then there are some times when I'm not in that mood, so I just want to relax. I'm not having a really great day, and during those times, I take yoga, I stretch out, and after I obviously feel much relaxed. And yeah,
Yeah, that's great. So we do have a yoga instructor who comes in every Wednesday as well from 3 to 4. That's our Phys Ed time, and students have the option to go to any one of these 3. Anything of these 3 options, and they're not limited to the same one. So if they choose yoga, they don't have to do yoga all the time. They can see how they feel on the day and go about their business.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Aline. Thanks, Yuri. Thanks, Yuri, for being here. Okay, and now over to Cathy. Cathy is our guidance counselor. Counselor. Cathy, you retired in 2015. What happened?
I kind of wish I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that question. I loved my career. I've worked in many schools over the years that I've worked. And 3 months after I retired, I was hired by a private school to replace somebody on maternity. And it became very clear to me at that point that I wasn't ready to go. And I am so grateful that I am working and that I have won the lotto and have been assigned to Mind High School.
Well, we're really happy you're here for sure. You bring a great energy to the school. And can you tell us, or tell our audience, what does Mind offer to its students?
Okay, if you've been watching this open house video, you're going to notice something that's quite striking. And believe me, having been in 17 or 18 schools, I know the difference between one school and another. And that is, you can tell just how special the relationships are between the staff and the students here. How much creativity is involved, how much fun is involved, how stimulating the educational experience is here. This is a very zen place. And it's just the loveliest place to learn on so many levels. I think I said that I really did win the lotto when I was assigned to Mind School.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Now,
Yeah.
Zen, I hope not too Zen.
No. Rigorous learning, but quiet, peaceful, caring, creative. It's the best of all worlds in a small space with a wonderful group of teachers, really wonderful, and a wonderful group of students. It's a lovely family under the same roof.
Totally. What about applying to CEGEP? How does that go for students from
Okay, well, I mean, CEGEP applications and getting into CEGEP has changed over the years. It's a lot more competitive. And so, we make sure that the students are aware of what is happening out there, what they need to do, how well they need to do, what are the prerequisites they need, what are the programs out there that they have to choose from. There's a lot of information that comes through my office, and I'll help all the Sec 4s and eventually the Sec 5s go through the entire process. So by the time they make their decisions, it's well thought out, and there's been careful planning involved. Do you want more from me? Is there something?
No, I thought that was going to go a little longer.
Well, I can go longer if you want. I mean, but I mean, from the time the student gets into Sec 5 till the applications start coming and having to be, completed in January, nobody will be alone in this process.
Thank you, Cathy.
Okay.
Thanks for being here. So that about wraps it up for kind of the formal let's talk to you part of this process. I don't know if there are questions in the chat. If they're not, that's fine. They could be entered in. And we also can, maybe there's some frequently asked questions. John, Myrianne, is there anything that we've missed?
There may be in terms of the application process. We can discuss that.
Okay.
Sorry, Sam. To apply to Mind, the process is pretty simple. It's visiting our website. So for that, I'll share my screen. You'll just bear with me for a few more seconds. Okay. So here on our website, for any parent who, after this video, has a few more questions that may come to their mind later, they can visit here and get a description of what we're about, what events are coming up. You can look under our current student schedules to see what an ordinary day would look like, what would be for our grade 9s and our grade 10s. But I think for those who've watched the video, who've got a sense that Mind might be the place for them, it's what's the next step. The next step begins with the application process. So for that, click on apply, and it'll take you to a Google form. And you'll see in this Google form, there are questions that are asked of both the students and the students' parents or guardians. And then attachments to upload their report cards. I'll stop sharing the screen for now. So that's the first step. Then I think, Will, maybe one of the other frequently asked questions I get is, what are you looking for? If this is an application process, what are the requirements to be able to be a student at Mind? And that's why I would stress this. If you notice on the application process, there's no deadline. So take your time, if you're interested in applying to Mind, to think of your answers carefully. It matters to us to know that we will form a relationship. So someone like Sam who comes in, we don't look at them as a student who's going to come in and you're in my history class and then you'll be in another class next year. So we're working together closely for 3 years. And we're interested in the kinds of contributions the students will make. So we ask for the quality behind it. Don't worry about entrance exams. What you should worry about is explaining to us what your report card looks like, to be able to explain the stories behind the numbers, to be able to explain the quality of the education, the skills that you bring, being honest about the challenges you face and the strategies you think that may help you overcome those. And all of that can be put into the application. So that's, I would say, for myself, one of the, on an ordinary day, the questions that I would feel the most from parents. All right, back to you, Will.
Okay, and Myrianne, is there anything we're missing?
Add that because we're a special status school and because we can work our curriculum around the government expectations, but around what fits our students. So our schedule is has a nice flow to it. But that's why being a special status school too, in the application process, there's also an interview where your child will come and have a chance to talk with us and tell us who they are as a learner, what they want their learning experience to be. And then we could decide together if Mind is the right fit for their academic path. So we look forward to meeting students. And like John said, sometimes they arrive in the middle of the year and we're able to help them out. So it's important to take your time and to really consider why you would want to come, because that interview will be part of it too. And we always look forward to get to know the new students.
Yeah, well, and if I could add one more thing about that, to echo what Myrianne said, that Mind is part of the board, right? We're in the EMSB and we have a lot of sister schools. And having worked at Lethbridge Pearson for 18 years, I can say I've come across phenomenal teachers. I think every school in the EMSB has pride in their teachers' ability not just to teach, but in the connections they make with their students. And it's something I'm proud to be a part of. And to pick up what Myrianne left off, what's important for us is that we match the students with their space. And that's where the interview comes in. We want to make sure that students who come in are autonomous and independent learners. Going back to the idea of the field trips, it takes them out of the classroom. So the content that's lost that day needs to be made up at some other time. We have to be sure that the students who come in are going to be able to do that work on their own, or if they can't do the work on their own, are actively reaching out to us to let us know that they're struggling with that work, and so we can come up with alternative times, alternative assignments. Because the last thing I would want as a teacher is to take a student and put them in an environment in which they can't get the supports they need. And you don't get that just from a report card, and you don't get that from an application. You really get that from an interview.
For sure. Okay, well, I guess that about wraps it up. I hope that you've gotten some kind of impression about what life is like here. And we thank you for joining us. We also thank you, Daniel, for producing behind the scenes. And I guess I would say get in touch to find out more information. And we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.